Hey guys, Leanne here on Grady's Mom. This is a cooking video. It is going to be volume 35. This recipe is from one of my Facebook friends. Her name is Sue, and I'm so grateful she gave me this recipe that she makes for her own family because it's absolutely delicious. It is called a garbanzo bean soup. The portion or the amount that I am going to be sharing in this video is for 4 people, 4 adults. So if you have a larger family or you want to make a double batch, then you can just double everything in this recipe. Again, this particular video is for 4 servings, 4 adults. It's a very hearty, delicious, and flavorful soup. So to make this soup, you're going to need first your meats, and this recipe calls for 3 different meats. It calls for ham steak, pepperoni, and kielbasa. You could also substitute the kielbasa for chorizo, or you could really play with the combination. But this is a combination that Sue had recommended that she uses. I think it was absolutely delicious. It was a great variety of texture and flavor. So again, we have ham steak, kielbasa, this is beef kielbasa, and pepperoni. So those are the 3 meats you're going to need. For your veggies, you're going to need 2 carrots, 1 small onion, and 2 small potatoes. You could obviously also use 1 large potato. I did peel mine because it had several blemishes on it. I left a little bit of the skin on, as you can see. But if you are going to leave all the skin on, I would recommend definitely washing your potatoes really well and scrubbing all the dirt off. You're going to need some fresh parsley. Would definitely recommend fresh parsley in this case because we're going to use half to let the soup simmer and half to top the bowls of soup with before we eat it. And then I used 2 cans of garbanzo beans. I believe Sue uses 4, but I'm thinking she makes a bigger batch than me. Again, this is for 4 people, 4 adults as a meal. So I have 2 cans of regular size garbanzo beans that were just rinsed really well and drained. We're going to need a heaping tablespoon of garlic. You can also use fresh garlic if that's what you have on hand. Also, you're going to need 32 ounces of chicken broth of your choice. I've been using the Progresso brand. I got these in a 6-pack at BJ's. You're going to need some extra virgin olive oil to fry up the veggies. I have some dried basil here. I also added some crushed red pepper flake for a little bit of heat. If you're making this for kids, I would recommend skipping the crushed red pepper unless your kids like spicy, or you could obviously use less crushed red pepper than I am. And then lastly, you're going to need just a couple bay leaves. I think the first time I made this, I used 3 small bay leaves. And these really add a lot of depth of flavor. And for those who aren't familiar with bay leaves, these are something you will want to remove before you serve the soup. They're just for flavor. So I'm going to go ahead and get this going and show you guys how simple and easy this is to bring together. It's just an awesome soup. So let's go ahead and get the pot ready to accept these veggies. All right, so the first step in this soup is you're going to need a large soup pot, and you're going to take your olive oil and you're going to go ahead and drizzle a good amount of olive oil on the bottom of this pot. I have it on medium high. Might even crank it up a little bit more. You don't want it screaming hot on high, but you definitely want it a nice hot heat because you're going to want to let this heat up for a couple minutes, and then you're going to start out by throwing your carrot, potato, and onion in. The reason why you want to put those in first is because potato and carrots are root vegetables, so as you know, they're a lot harder in consistency to soften up, so we want to give those a head start in this pot. Once your pan is nice and hot, you're going to go ahead and get the potatoes, carrots, and onion in, and you want that sizzle because that means it's nice and hot, and you're just going to stir these for about 3 to 5 minutes until they have a nice crust on them. Okay, about 5 minutes have passed. Can't get too close, but as you can see, there's like a little bit of color on the edges. This is when we're going to know that we can go ahead now and add the meat. And we are just going to go ahead and stir the meat into the veggies. Alright guys, so the meat has a little bit of browning on it. So now it's time to add in the garbanzo beans, the crushed red pepper, 3 small bay leaves. Again, you're going to remove these before serving. About a tablespoon of dried basil, I'm gonna grab my garlic and my broth, and we're gonna bring this to a simmer. So we're gonna do a heaping tablespoon of garlic. I happen to love garlic, if you couldn't tell. So the garlic, and then I'm gonna do half the parsley, roughly, right in. About half, give or take. Now we're gonna add the broth, and this is where it comes together. Alright guys, so this is where you want to crank your heat up to high because we want to bring this all to a simmer. So I'm just going to just gently stir everything together since all those spices and garlic and everything were on top. It just smells heavenly and it tastes just as good as it smells. So again, just want to lightly, kind of gently stir everything so that everything gets incorporated with the herbs and the garlic and everything's kind of even in the pot. And now we bring it to a boil. Once it starts boiling, then you cover it, reduce the heat down to low, and let it simmer for about 30 minutes, and it is done. So it's super easy. I absolutely love this. I'm so excited to be sharing this with you, and I hope you guys will give this a try. So I will show you guys what you want to look for when it bubbles up, and then how you cover it and put it on low. Okay, so it has reached a boil, as you can see. I'm turning the heat down to low. I'm putting a lid on it, and I'm gonna set my timer for 30 minutes. Obviously, I'm gonna stir it maybe every 10 minutes or so. So maybe in a 30-minute period that you're waiting for your timer, give it a stir maybe every 10 minutes if you can, at least every 15, so it's stirred a couple times. And in 30 minutes, we'll be ready to eat. So I'll see you guys in a little bit. Okay, so 30 minutes have gone by. I tasted it just to make sure. I'm going to go ahead first and remove those bay leaves, which again, there are 3 of them. So I see 2 right off the bat. I think I'm just going to give this a little stir and see if I can find the other one. Here it is. I cannot tell you guys how delicious this soup is. It reminds me of like fall and winter in a bowl. And it's rustic, it's hearty, it's so flavorful, it's just absolutely delicious. So I'm gonna go ahead, get myself a nice bowl and dig in. I'll give you guys one final look. So delicious. It smells heavenly. One final look at the pot. Here is my bowl. You could add a little bit of Parmesan cheese on top. If you guys noticed, I didn't add salt or pepper. I definitely don't think it needs salt because all the meats have salt as well as the broth, so I would not recommend adding salt. And for black pepper, I'm gonna add a little bit, but I would recommend waiting just because everybody's taste preferences are different, and that red pepper flake does give it a little heat. So I'm personally going to add a little bit of black pepper on top. I'm going to dig in, and this is absolutely delicious. I hope you guys give it a try. I hope you enjoyed the video. Everything will be typed up down below based on 4 adult servings. Again, if you have a bigger family or are making a double batch, feel free to double my ingredients. Hope you have a great day, and I will see you guys very soon. Bye, guys.